May 29th, 2018, Pusha T released a song called The Story of Adidon. In 4 minutes, he told the world that Drake, the biggest rapper on the planet, had been hiding the sun. He revealed the child's name. He showed a photo of Drake in blackface. He questioned everything about Drake's identity. Drake never responded with a diss track. For the first time in his career, he stayed quiet. The rap world had ignored Pusha T's warnings for years. Everyone thought Drake was untouchable. They thought his fame and success made him bulletproof. They were wrong. This is the story of how Pusha T ended the biggest rap career in the world with one song. The beef between Drake and Pusha T didn't start in 2018. It started almost 10 years earlier, but most people didn't know this. In 2011, Drake released a song called Dreams Money Can Buy. He took shots at Pusha T's drug dealing past. He said Pusha was still rapping about selling cocaine when that part of his life was over. Pusha T responded on a song called Exodus 23:1. He called Drake soft. He said Drake was fake. He said Drake wasn't really from the streets like he pretended to be. But nobody paid attention. Drake was becoming one of the biggest stars in music. Pusha T was respected, but not mainstream. Most fans didn't even know they had beef. The shots continued for years. Drake would throw subliminals on his albums. Pusha would respond on his tracks, back and forth. But it stayed underground. It never became a major story. Then things got more serious in 2015. Meek Mill accused Drake of using a ghostwriter named Quentin Miller. Meek posted on Twitter that Drake didn't write his own verse on a song they did together. This became a major controversy in hip-hop. Drake responded to Meek with 2 diss tracks and won that battle. But the ghostwriting accusations never fully went away. People kept questioning whether Drake wrote all his own material. By 2016, Pusha T signed the Kanye West label, Good Music, and Drake and Kanye were having their own problems. Drake felt like Kanye had betrayed him in various ways. The personal became professional.
In April 2018, Pusha T released an album called Daytona. Kanye West produced the entire thing. On a song called Infrared, Pusha took shots at Drake. He brought up the ghostwriting controversy from 2015. He referenced Quentin Miller, the writer that Meek Mill had accused Drake of using ghostwriters. He suggested Drake was still using ghostwriters and that his authenticity as a rapper should be questioned. These weren't new accusations. The Quentin Miller situation had been public knowledge since 2015, but Pusha said it directly on a song, not just as a gossip or rumors. Drake responded 3 days later with Duppy Freestyle. The song came out on May 25, 2018. Drake went after Pusha T and Kanye West. He said Pusha T's career was dead. He said Pusha was only relevant because Kanye was producing his album. He said Kanye's mental health was affecting his judgment. Drake also brought up money. He said Pusha T's album was barely selling. He pointed out that Pusha had never had a #1 album. He said Pusha's biggest contribution to hip-hop was being part of a group that broke up years ago. The song was good. Most fans and critics said Drake won this round. He was clever, he was disrespectful without being too personal. He stayed in control. Drake even sent Pusha T an invoice for $100,000 for promotional assistance and career reviving. He posted it on Instagram. He was treating this like a joke, like he'd already won. That was his mistake. 4 days later, on May 29, 2018, Pusha T released The Story of Adidon. The cover art was a photo of Drake in black face makeup. The image came from a 2007 photo shoot Drake did for a clothing line. Pusha found it and used it to make Drake look bad. Then the song started. Pusha went after Drake's parents. He talked about Drake's father leaving when he was young. He said his mother was sick. He questioned his relationship with both of them. He attacked Drake's producer and friend, Noah 40 Shabib, who has multiple sclerosis. Pusha made references to 40's illness in a way that many people found disrespectful. He went after Drake's mixed racial identity. He said Drake didn't know if he was black or white. He said Drake used black culture when it benefited him, but distanced himself when it didn't. But none of that was the knockout blow. Pusha revealed that Drake had a son with a former adult film actress named Sophie Broussard. He said Drake was hiding the child. He said he wasn't taking care of his son. He even mentioned the child's name, Adonis. This was information almost nobody knew. Drake had kept this completely secret. His fans didn't know. Most of the music industry didn't know. Pusha T exposed it all. After The Story of Adidon dropped, everyone waited for Drake's response. Drake always responded to disses. When Meek Mill came at him in 2015, Drake dropped 2 diss tracks and destroyed Meek Mill's career. When anyone threw shots at Drake, he fired back. But this time, Drake stayed quiet. Days passed, no response. A week passed, still nothing. On June 2nd, 2018, Drake finally addressed it. But he didn't make a diss track. He didn't go on social media. He gave an interview to LeBron James on a show called The Shop. Drake said he wanted to respond. He said he had a track ready to go, but he decided not to release it because Pusha had crossed too many lines. He said bringing up 40's illness was too far. He said the beef had gotten too dark. He also confirmed that everything Pusha said about his son was true. He had a child. He'd been keeping it secret. He was planning on revealing it himself on his upcoming album, but Pusha beat him to it. Drake said he was done with the beef. He said he was taking the high road. He said responding would just make things worse. Most people saw this differently. They saw Drake backing down. They saw him losing. For the first time in his career, Drake got hit with something he couldn't come back from.
The Story of Adonis changed Drake's public image. Before the song, Drake was untouchable. He was the biggest rapper in the world. He had the most streaming numbers, he had the most hits. He seemed perfect. After the song, people started questioning everything about him. Was he really a good father? Why had he hit his son? Was he ashamed of the child's mother? Was he planning to be involved in his son's life at all? The blackface photo raised more questions. Why had Drake done that photo shoot? What was he thinking? Drake later explained that the photo was from 2007 when he was an actor. It was meant as artistic commentary on how black actors are typecast and struggle in the entertainment industry. But the damage was done. Drake's next album, Scorpion, came out on June 29, 2018, exactly 1 month after The Story of Adonis. The album addressed his son directly. Drake rapped about being a father. He admitted he'd made mistakes. He said he was gonna be there for Adonis. But the damage was done. Pusha T had controlled the narrative. He'd exposed Drake before Drake could tell his own story. The album still did huge numbers. It broke streaming records. Drake was still commercially successful. But something had changed. The image of Drake as this smooth, in-control, untouchable superstar was damaged. The biggest question after The Story of Adonis was, how did Pusha T find out about Drake's son? Pusha said in interviews that he had people feeding him information. He said he'd known about Adonis for months. He was just waiting for the right time to reveal it. But there were rumors that Kanye West helped. Kanye had been friendly with Drake in the past. Maybe he learned about the child during that time and told Pusha. Drake seemed to believe this. In later interviews and songs, he took shots at Kanye. He suggested Kanye had betrayed his trust. He said Kanye had fed information to Pusha specifically to hurt him. Kanye denied involvement. He said he didn't know about Pusha's plans for The Story of Adonis. He claimed he only heard the song after it was released. In the 2019 interview with Joe Budden, Pusha T explained that he got the information from a woman who was close to the situation. He said multiple people in Toronto knew about Drake's son, and the information eventually reached him. To this day, the full story of how Pusha got the information isn't completely clear, but it don't matter. What matters is that he had it and he used it. The story of Adonis proved that even the biggest star in hip-hop could be touched. Drake spent years building an image. He was the guy who always won. He was the guy who could end anyone's career with one diss track. He was untouchable. Pusha T showed that wasn't true. He showed that if you have the right information and the right delivery, you can hurt anyone. The beef also changed how people viewed Drake as a person. Before this, Drake's personal life was mostly private. People knew he dated famous women, but that was it. After this, people started looking closer. They started asking questions about his relationships, his family, his authenticity. Drake eventually embraced being a father publicly. He posts his pictures with Adonis now. He talks about him in interviews. He brings him to events. But that wasn't his choice. Pusha T forced him into it. As for Pusha T, the beef elevated his career. His album Daytona got more attention because of the Drake beef. He became known as the guy who exposed Drake. He proved he was one of the best diss track writers in hip-hop history. Drake and Pusha never officially ended their beef. They just stopped mentioning each other. There was no handshake, no public reconciliation. They just moved on. But everyone knows who won.
For years, the rap world ignored Pusha T's warnings about Drake. They thought Drake was too big to fall. They thought his commercial success protected him. Pusha T proved them wrong with one song. The Story of Adidon didn't end Drake's career. Drake is still one of the biggest artists in music. He still breaks records. He still makes hits. But the song ended Drake's image as untouchable. It showed that he could be hurt. It showed that he had secrets. It showed that he could lose. Drake learned that being the biggest doesn't make you bulletproof. He learned that information is more powerful than fame. He learned that some battles are better left alone. Pusha T learned that patience pays off. He'd been going at Drake for years, but nobody paid attention. Then he waited for the right moment, gathered the right information, and struck when it would hurt the most. That's how you win a rap beef. Not by being the loudest, not by being the most famous, by being the most prepared.